taught me how to live. Daddy taught me how to give. Both of them had their own sins. Down to the river, every man has felt the shame. All our blood, it runs the same. Father, hear us as we pray. Down to the river, down to the river. Sing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, going down deep, singing, oh, oh, bury me, carry me, oh, oh, far beneath, oh, oh, fire and water me, washing me clean, carry
Hi, welcome to the Cryptid Wilderness Research Podcast. I am CWR team member Daniel Becker in Anchorage, Alaska, up here staring into the Arctic abyss. And joining me from Quincy, Washington, my fellow host, Matt Slater.
Hello.
Matt, how are things in Washington State?
Oh, it finally cooled off a little bit. It's been down in the 70s the last few days, 70s and 80s. We actually had thunderstorm and some rain, finally. First rain we've had all summer.
We've got rain here today in Anchorage, and I often say this, that when the tourist trolley goes by and it's raining outside, you can see the tourists in there weeping as they thought they bought good weather when they bought their tickets. But, you know, it rains a lot in the Arctic, folks. And so when people come up here, they seem shocked at that, but they don't do their research. So here in Anchorage, we've had a couple bear encounters, bear maulings over the last couple weeks, as I know you've heard about. Yeah. And they still have not captured one of those bears, which, of course, makes everybody nervous. But you don't have any bears out there where you are, right?
No, not out this far. We got coyotes, and there's been some lynx, and every now and then a mountain lion will come out this far. But that's pretty much it. Mostly coyotes.
2 back-to-back bear maulings here in the Anchorage area in such close proximity, time-wise, is unusual, and obviously it's got everybody a little nervous. So today we're going to be talking about mind speak, and that's a topic known in Bigfoot research circles, cryptid research circles. But for those of you who may not know what mind speak is, I'm going to put a definition up here. So mind speak is a form of mental telepathy communication associated with cryptids such as Bigfoot. And it's a very fascinating topic. Matt, when did you first hear about mind speak? Was it early on in your Bigfoot interest, or was it later?
Yeah, no, it was pretty early on. Hearing quite a few people talk about it from the podcast shows that I listened to for years before doing this show. So many people who have Bigfoot encounters will also have mind speak experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest out there in this topic. So we wanted to get our friend from paranormal-empowerment.com, Robin Haynes, back with us. And she is an expert in this field, and she's going to take the time to educate us on mind speak. So let's bring her in. Robin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So we'll tell our viewers and listeners that where you are, it's actually storming. So we're going to apologize in advance for any type of technical issues or difficulties that might pop up. So you have a great website, paranormal-empowerment.com, where you offer a range of services to clients. And you've been in the cryptid and Bigfoot research community now for a long time. You've done documentaries. You're one of the organizers and managers of the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference, which myself and William Lunsford and others in our network have had the opportunity to be a part of, which we really enjoyed. And that takes a lot of work. So thank you again for that work you did this past April. No matter where you go in the Bigfoot community, the topic of mind speak always comes up. So you being an expert in this area, tell us about mind speak. Tell us how you first encountered it, how you recognized it, and that journey it took you on.
Okay. First, I don't think there really are any what so-called experts in any of this, because I don't think no matter how much we know, we'll ever know it all. I know a lot about it. I've been doing it since I was a very small child. So I do have a lot of information on it. I think everybody has their own experiences, so some of it may fluctuate. What I know is what I was taught by the Sasquatch at a very, very young age. And so when I work with, because I work with people all the time, I teach them how to mind speak. I teach them to do frequency and energy work and work with their collective consciousness and do the mind speak. So most people, everybody's capable of it. Okay. It's not something that people are not able to do. They can. And I believe probably thousands of years ago, our type of humans actually did it. We got dumbed down when the government came in and said, guess what? This isn't real. You can't do this. So, and it's kind of been like a taboo subject. And if you don't know that it's out there, you don't know you're capable of it, how are you going to know to use it? If you're not going to use it, you kind of lose it. And people are not aware that the term mind speak is very misleading. Telepathy, it's where it's mentally you're connecting, person to person. And all animals are telepathic. There's not one that isn't. Trees are telepathic. Rocks are telepathic. All cryptids are telepathic. ETs, elementals, dimensionals, any type of a paranormal being is. Where people get misled is how they recognize it. People think that it's going to be this big voice that's going to bomb out in your head, just like they think is talking to them. That is very much incorrect. Can that happen? Absolutely. A lot of people get it because they hear the voices in the mind, and that is true. That is one part of it. The reality of it is mind speak comes in literally multiple different ways. Okay. It can come as a thought in your head, and you're like, why am I thinking about this? I never think about this. And it's just popped into your head. Like you can be driving down the road and all of a sudden you just have this pull that you need to go a certain place. And you go and you're like, why am I here? Because I had no business being here. I didn't want to come here. It can be a picture that pops into your head. It can be what feels like a movie being played in your head. It can be a sense of knowing that you just go into a place and you automatically have the sense of knowing that this is what's happened. Or you're sitting at home, you're watching TV, and all of a sudden you just have this feeling that something's happened in another certain area. You don't have to be next to the person sending the message to get it. I spoke at a conference in Siberia back in, it's like 2011 or 12. I still hear from the Sasquatch there. I'm not anywhere near Siberia now. So it's not about distance. When you are mind speaking, time and space doesn't exist at that point. You're working through your consciousness. And so most people, like if you're, let's say you're married or you have a partner you're living with or whatever, you automatically know what person's going to say something to you before they do, and you know what they're going to say. That is a form of mind speak because their consciousness is reaching out to yours and they're telling it. Or, you can go anywhere and have somebody walk by you and all of a sudden you get that feeling that that this person is up to no good, or this person feels like a kind person. Not only is your body reading the energies, you're getting mind speak. I went out in the woods one time and I had somebody at my house that was visiting, and I told him, I said, please don't go back out in the woods. If you're going to go out in the woods at my place, you wait for me. I will take you out there. My Sasquatch know me, I don't want them frightened. They've got kids out there. And he took off by himself out in the woods. Didn't listen to what I told him to do. I'm in the house and I felt nothing but fear, just absolute fear And I automatically knew that there was a female out there scared for her baby. And as soon as I did that, I knew he was out there. So I went running out in the woods, and I got out there, and then she started, more of the verbal communication in the mind. And I said, "Where is he?" And she told me exactly where he was, and he was there. But I knew she was terrified because there's a stranger out in a place that they always considered safe. They walked freely, uncloaked around my property all the time. It wasn't a big deal. You'd look out the window and you'd see him walking around. And she was safe there, and here comes this complete stranger. So you can get it multiple ways. I teach people how to mind speak all the time. It all comes down to two things. No matter what you do with these cryptids or anything that's of a paranormal nature, animals, anything, it comes down to energy and frequency. Everything is energy and frequency based. And more people are now starting to realize this. For years, that was a taboo topic. We didn't talk about it because nobody believed it. And I sounded like a crazy person because I was running around talking about frequencies and energies. Everything has energy and frequency. Your toothbrush does, a Kleenex does. It's all just different kinds. And when it comes to cryptids, these are a high frequency being. Animals are the same way. That's why they can all mind speak. Once you get your frequency up, you can tap into that. There's ways to learn how to raise your frequency, and that's what I teach. So once your frequency is high enough and you get out of that, what I call the third dimension, in the third dimension, that's your physical body. Okay. Your physical body holds your consciousness and your higher frequency parts. And you have to learn how to tap into that frequency. People that automatically get mind speak, but they haven't done the work to raise the frequency, they already are a higher frequency. So that's why they're getting it just randomly. And anything can talk to you. But if you want to learn how to do it, you've got to do the steps to get there. And you do that with energy and frequency. Now, a lot of people will be out in the woods and they'll hear a Sasquatch talk to them in their head. Absolutely happens. These are people that are what they call pure of heart or relatively good. The only ones that they will talk to like that, if they are bad, is if they're trying to scare them away. And they will do it that way. They can pinpoint who they want to hear and who they don't. But it's important to remember that there's multiple ways to do it. I think what messes everybody up is they're waiting for those words to pop into their head. And a lot of times they do. Absolutely do. But other times that's not how they get it. There's so many ways in order to receive mind speak. And there's no right or wrong way. What one person gets it one way, another person might get it a different way. There's other people like myself and multiple other people that I know of that get it all the different ways. So everybody's different. Everybody has a different frequency. Everybody has a different energy. So that's why it comes out different for everybody. And each individual cryptid may want to do it a certain way. I have a large black male Sasquatch that when I hear from him, I hear the words. And I was busy doing something one day and he kept talking in my head. And I was like, just give me a minute. I will help you. I'm got to finish this and then I'll help you. And he got so mad and he was out in the bushes and he just yelled my name. Like you could hear my name coming. Everybody could hear it. He decided if I wasn't going to listen through mind speak, he was going to do it verbally. So, and then I have others that, certain ones that'll do the sense of knowing, where others will show me pictures. So it depends on the cryptid itself, and it depends on the individual, where your frequency is at as to how you get it.
So take us back to that first time that you had this type of communication with a Bigfoot. Where were you? What were you doing? How did you respond to it? How did you react to it? Were you shocked and surprised? Or take us back there.
I wasn't really shocked or surprised because I don't know anything different. Like I had just started to talk. I think I probably was getting it before I even could talk, but I had just started to talk. And I remember I had to have been, I want to say 3 to 4 years old. And according to the Sasquatch, they've always contacted me that way because I can remember before I was really able to verbalize a lot, I would look at the windows and I'd point, and I'd get all excited because I knew they were there. And so they would talk to me. I didn't understand because I was so tiny. I did not understand that not everybody got this. I really didn't. I had no clue for years because, like I said, I can remember, even when I couldn't really communicate well to talk to my parents, hearing them talk to me. So, I mean, it could be 2, could be 3, I don't remember, but like I said, I wasn't, very verbal when I was speaking at the time. I heard them very clearly. And then they would say something to me, and when I was able to talk, well, I would say to my mom, and this was, 3 to 4 years old, I'd say something and she'd look at me like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, my friend told me that," you know, or I would point to the window and say, "They'll look in the window." By age 4, I'd ask my mom and dad, "What is a Bigfoot?" Because that's what everybody called him back there. And they had no idea. Patterson Gimlin really wasn't, put around yet. So they had no idea. There was no books out there. I just always got it. But it wasn't just the Sasquatch. When I was little, my mom would even tell me, she said the dogs would look at me, I would look at the dogs, and then whatever I wanted them to do, they just did. I would automatically know what they wanted. I mean, animals are excessively telepathic. When I'm not home with my dogs and I'm gone, I went to visit a friend in West Virginia and I stayed at his house. And when I was there, I was mind speaking with my dogs at home to make sure everything was fine. And my daughter was here and I would message her, "Okay, such and such says this and this. Is everybody okay?" "Yep, mom, it's taken care of." I'm like, "Okay." So it doesn't have to be limited to cryptids. It's obviously more fun, but you don't have to limit it to a cryptid or any type of a paranormal being, because everything actually is telepathic and can mind speak, including us. The only thing we have to do is dimension. And like I said, there are times that I know that Sasquatch, as well as other cryptids, have just kind of pushed through that barrier too to get to people to give them messages. And that's generally people that are a slightly higher frequency than others. But I just have always done it. I didn't really comprehend that not everybody did it until I was probably, I want to say, anywhere between 7 to 9, because I would know things that the animals would tell me, or I would know things that the Sasquatch would tell me, and I would bring them up to my parents, and they didn't know what I was talking about. They're like, "Why do you know that?" I was fortunate. My parents were very kind. I never got where they thought I was being untruthful or that I was crazy or anything. I was very lucky. A lot of people, don't have that. They weren't non-supportive. They were just open to the fact that whatever was going on, they knew I was not a liar. I've never been a liar. And they may not have understood it, but they believed in me. So I was very fortunate with that. I think it made my dad uncomfortable, but he never, got negative about it with me. My mom, she was one that could always speak to spirits. So she was a little more calm about it. But at that point, neither one of them knew what a Sasquatch was. They really didn't believe it. They did, later on in life, before my dad passed, he did. My mom does now. She was stayed at my house one time and they were knocking on the window and stuff. And she said, "Okay, I believe it." I believe it. But I was fortunate. I never at any time did I ever get from them that they thought I was misleading them in any way.
And have there been times when you've been out in the woods where you have had aggressive, negative mind speak from a Sasquatch?
Yeah. Yes. I actually was working with a girlfriend of mine, her son, and I was teaching him about energy and frequency because the kid's got a ton of abilities. And so she had asked me if I'd work with him, and I said, yeah. And I was working with him over the phone. It wasn't a big deal. And he was getting to the level where he was going to start to be able to access it. And again, you start out frequency, energy, and that's how you tap into your abilities. And then you learn how to control the frequencies and the energies, and then you can start using your abilities. And I was going to see one of my best friends that lives in Georgia up towards Tennessee. And I stay at him and his wife's house quite a bit. And I was headed over there and they literally changed my GPS. Like my GPS flipped. I didn't even realize they had done it. They do this all the time. I take nothing less than 3 GPSs in my car when I go anywhere because they will play with the GPS. And I end up alone out in the woods, in the mountains, wherever they want me to be. and I'm stuck there because they decided that's where I'm going to go. And anyway, so they rerouted me, and I was coming back from a conference. I was going to his house. They rerouted me, and I ended up in the mountains. And I'm like, I can't get off this bloody mountain. And that's when I realized the GPS had changed. So I stopped, and they were like, you will not help him with his abilities. And I'm like, oh, I absolutely will. And they got really nasty. And they said, if you continue to try to teach him his abilities, we will kill you. And I said, you can try. You know, big and bad. They could squash me like a bug in a heartbeat. And they did not want him to learn his abilities. The kid's got power. He's a little wizard. And so I told him, I said, I will. And if you don't back off, I'm going to push my energy into him, and he's going to be even stronger. And, you know, I mean, I don't think they consider me a threat at all, but they will. Like, they were really negative, really nasty about it. I got threatened about it, you know, and the bad ones have threatened me at times. You know, I've been out in the woods where they were not overly kind, you know, and I have dealt with some of the negative ones, but I've been very fortunate. You know, the good ones seem to keep a close eye on me. So I've been really pretty good. I've never even gotten zapped. I always knock on wood because I'm sure my day will come. But yeah, the bad ones, and the thing people need to realize is these bad ones will manipulate your thought process. So when you start getting a thought process that is not normal for you, like let's say you're a upbeat person, you are a relatively upbeat person, and all of a sudden you're down, but you can't figure out why you're down, and everything in your world is blowing up, and you're like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand this, and why am I so down, and why do I not like people, and this is not normally my nature. You're being played with. And the bad things, not necessarily Sasquatch, other entities. If you are a person that has a higher frequency and you are a happy person and energetic and all of these beautiful things, then the bad stuff wants to bring you down. If you're depressed, if you're upset, your frequency is down, and they will feed off that energy that's more negative, like a buffet. So if they can keep you down, they will. They will use a form of mind speak to do that. And they will get into your head and they will mentally play with it. So you think it's your own thoughts, you think it's your own feelings, and it's not. And I have worked with countless people that have come to me with this situation and taught them how to bring the frequency up, bring the energies up so that you can defend yourself, because you can. We are not completely powerless. That is why my business is called Paranormal Empowerment. It's taking your power back. Okay. It doesn't mean that you can go up against a 12-foot Sasquatch and think you're not going to get your head ripped off. What it means is you can put that higher frequency and energy out, and it will help keep the bad things away because it hurts them to be around it. It makes them uncomfortable to be around it. You can use it for a great many things. But the point is, these things, when they mind speak, they can do those things. They can make it you feel like it's your own thought, that it's your own emotion, and it's not. So when I teach people, I'm like the safety police when I work with my clients. And when I teach them to mind speak, and there is no age limit for you to mind speak. I've taught young children, I've taught older people. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, a trained chimp can. And we do it in a safe way. If you're going to learn to mind speak from me, you're going to learn how to read energies. And the reason I do that is because let's say you're talking to a Sasquatch every day and his name is Bob. Okay? Every day mind speaking with you and you're loving it. Well, once you start to mind speak, that opens an entire channel for everything to find out you're speaking. So then one day Bob isn't there on time and somebody else come in. And it could be demonic. It could be just evil, because there's a difference. It could be just bad. There's a difference in all three. And they can tell you that they're Bob. If you don't know how to read those energies, you have no idea who you're talking to. And you can be easily deceived. And it can happen to anybody, including me. But if you know how to read the energy signatures, you are much safer. Energy signatures cannot be faked. Okay? You cannot fake your energy signature. What you get is what it is. And so when I work with people on how to mind speak, that is part of the process. And if they are not comfortable learning how to read the energies first, then we do not do the mind speak, because I don't ever want to do anything that would put anybody in an unsafe position.
So a lot of people believe that Bigfoot operate in a clan-like structure. Are some clans of Bigfoot are they likely to use mind speak while others don't use it at all? Do they all use mind speak?
They all have it. They all can use it. Every clan, and I kind of tell everybody it's kind of like federal and state laws. Okay, your federal laws, all the states work under. It's same thing with all the different clans of Sasquatch, and then you have your state laws, which are individual. So each clan, the leader of that clan, will dictate what that clan does. So generally, they will all mind speak. I've yet to, unless they learn how to do it from their parents. Their parents teach them. If their parents don't teach them, they don't know they have any abilities at all. It's taught from them to them from their parents. So if it's a clan where they use the mind speak, they use the cloaking, they use their abilities. You have a clan that all of them will use it. They'll have a longer lifespan because you have to be a higher frequency to tap into any of those. Frequency kills off diseases and various health issues, so they have a longer life expectancy. If you have a clan that is strictly old school and refuses to use any of those, some of them will still use the mind speak, but not all of them. And if the parents, let's say we had, World Bigfoot Radio has the story of Glag and Kevin Lang. Kevin Lang was a beautiful man, and he had a very special relationship with Glag. My understanding from what I was told was that when Kevin found him, he didn't know about a lot of these abilities because his parents were killed. So he didn't learn it from them. I've not found any that cannot mind speak. From what they have told me and taught me, and they've taught me a lot of things, and they all mind speak. That's just part of who they are. But you have some that just don't, but a lot of them, I would say the majority of them will. They are all capable of it. Don't ever rule it out on any of them because they can all do it. It's like if you're out in the woods and you accidentally see one, okay? One's walking around. If you think that guy's by himself, he may look like he's by himself, but these things are all linked through the collective consciousness, okay? Which also filters back into mind speak. If you have a collective consciousness, you automatically get mind speak. So let's say you are going to be stupid enough to try to harm them, or you were doing something that could cause harm to that particular one or the clan. The rest of them know, and I promise you, they will be there very quickly. So he may be alone for that moment, but he's not going to be alone for long. They are all linked through the collective. And the collective works the mind speak. So yeah, they're all going to be able to do it. They absolutely are. They're going to feel it, even if they're not verbally doing it back and forth. They are going to feel it. I had one that actually got hurt. I was sound asleep, and he had gotten hurt, and he broke his leg. And I'm sound asleep, and I felt such pain in my leg. It was astronomical, woke me out of a sound sleep. And I knew nothing had happened to me, but it was just this intense pain. So I was like, okay, who out there got hurt? I know somebody did. And he popped up right when I did. I was climbing this tree to avoid another one from a different clan that was looking for me. The branch broke, I fell, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, fine. And I definitely work on them, as do a great many people. I'm not the only one. And, we got him where he was able to get out of there. But the thing of it is it's a projection. They can project any feeling, thought, emotion, pain onto you. Just like when you go in the woods, and this is another form of mind speak. And people go out in the woods with some of these cryptids and they feel what they call the wall of fear, where you're fine 1 second and then you are filled with the worst fear. And I've had this done to me twice. The worst fear that you can ever imagine. Your world's biggest nightmare, that's how you are going to feel. It is complete terror. That is a projection. They aren't doing anything to you. They're doing it through mind speak to terrify you enough to get you to turn around and get out of the area that they're in. I had some dogmen that I do very well with, but I was my first introduction to them. And it was out on a property I was looking at. And I got in the property, no problem, didn't have any issue. I went to leave, and I go through this every time I'm there. I'm fine getting in. They never want me to leave. They try to keep me there every time. And I went to go leave, and it was the worst wall of fear I've ever had. And I said, listen, we can do this either way. I don't have to buy this property. But if I don't, it's going to get parceled out. It's going to get sold. And the bad men with guns are going to come. So when it gets sold, you are going to want anything on here. And then there's going to be a war, and your people and my people will die. So I can either get this property and you can live here the rest of your lives, or I can walk away, because I'm going to walk away tonight anyway. You can't keep me here. And I have to come back. And as soon as I did that, I got hit with the most intense love you could ever feel in your life. And I'm like, okay, you want me to stay? I can stay. So I purchased the property, and I can go out there whenever I want. And they're wonderful when I'm out there. I have absolutely no issue with them at all. They come outside, my trailer, because I've got a trailer out there. They'll come outside and look in the window, and they're lovely. I mean, they are just tremendous. And they can stay there for the rest of their lives, because they're just wonderful.
So before I pass things over to Matt, you have done field research all over the place.
Yeah.
Has there been a region of the country where you tend to experience more mind speak as opposed to others? Like, for example, do you experience more in the Pacific Northwest as opposed to the Southeastern United States? Any regional differences that you've encountered?
No, notice much. I know we get a lot more crabby ones in North Carolina. Not that they're all bad there. There are some lovely ones in North Carolina. So I will say that. But yeah, tend to be a little bit more. I get my GPS as well as my directions. Like, I'll be driving thinking I know where I'm supposed to be, and I'm somewhere else. And it's generally, they want me out in the woods with them, but they don't feel really good, so I don't go. But no, it doesn't matter. If they're around, they're going to talk. Anything will. Once you learn to mind speak, you can mind speak with absolutely everything. But you have to remember that what you're mind speaking can be heard by anything. It's like putting it on the radio. Okay? An easy way to have it more isolated between you and what you're mind speaking with is in the car, because you're traveling through time and space when you're in a car. Whether you're riding a bike, whether you're walking down the road, jogging, a car, a bus, a plane, it seems to, in my experience, it seems to keep it more isolated and more protected from others hearing. There are ways to energetically block outsiders from trying to get in, but nothing is foolproof. So, just be aware of that when you are talking. But yeah, I mean, it seems to be, it doesn't matter where you go. If they want to talk, they will. If they don't want to talk, there's nothing you can do to force them. But you can talk with anything. Same thing with the spirits, and ghosts. I do a lot of speaking to spirits for people, with loved ones that's passed, connecting, checking on them, making sure they're okay for their loved ones. They want to know that they've gotten where their destination was supposed to be and that they're okay. Elementals, dimensionals, ETs. I've talked to more ETs than I probably should ever. I tell people, be careful what you're talking to. That's why I teach people, read those energies. You don't want to talk to anything bad. If you are, let's say you are aware of how to read the energies, excuse me, and something goes to talk to you, and you automatically feel off about it or unsettled when it does, the worst thing you can do is tell it not to that you won't talk to it, because in that moment that you've said, I'm not going to talk to you, you just gave it a second to connect with you. You don't respond in any way. Grab your cell phone, the TV, whatever, turn up upbeat music, turn on something funny on TV and crank it up. You can hide out in the white noise. Okay? So you're not going to talk to it as your first thing. And when you go to not talk to it, start thinking about anything other than that, so that it can't hook through the consciousness. The collective consciousness is how it gets to you. So if you hear something talking to you and you're uncomfortable with it, I don't care if you're thinking about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, pinch yourself, slap yourself, whatever you have to do. Don't think about it, and then take that time and get upbeat music or something funny on and crank it up and hide out in the white noise until it passes, or until, if you know how to do the frequency and energy work, then there's ways that you can deal with it at that point. But the good stuff is out there. There's more good than bad, but the bad is there too. And, I feel like I would be really remiss if I don't remind people of that, because it's not all fun and games. It's wonderful. It's a blessing. I mind speak with something every day, on and off, all day. And it's harder to do it with humans. It's not impossible. I have mind spoke with humans before, but we are so much more into the 3D that it's much harder. In order to mind speak, you have to, like, if something's talking to you, it's not going to matter where you're at. They can penetrate to get into your head. And most people that are in the 3D are going to ignore it and not think it's real anyway. But in order for you to put it out to something, you have to be in a higher frequency. You have to. That's the only way you can do it. They can do it because they are high frequency. But we have to be at a higher frequency for us to put it out. It is not a two-way street where you can't get it if you can't give it. It doesn't work that way. It only has to work one way to be able to make it go. So if you're going to do it, and I talk to a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, a lot of people that are in this field, and they'll say, like in my area, because of the wildlife, I have to carry a gun. And I know the Sasquatch don't like that. What do I do? Okay, first off, they're going to know you have that gun because they know your intent. They know what's on your person. They know what's in your car. Okay, so there's no way to hide it from them. What they want to see is how honest are you? If your intent is pure, that it's not for them, which 99% of the time it isn't, then you, in your mind, so that you can get to the ones that aren't close enough to hear you, you say, I am coming into the woods. I do have a weapon. This is what I have. This is not for you. This is to protect me from bear, cougar, coyote, snake, whatever your concern is. Tell them, because they can read your mind. They're going to know anyway. What they're looking for is for you to communicate with them the same thing that they're already picking up off of you. That's how you build the trust. That's how you get more interaction. And you just tell them, I'm here with peace and love in my heart. If you want to interact with me and you want to be in peace, I want to interact with you. If you don't want to interact in peace, I want no contact. You have to be specific. They come from a different culture. Their words don't mean the same as ours. And their understanding of what the words are, as far as when you put it together in a sentence, sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's not. So when you talk to them, you don't leave any room for interpretation. It's specific. Just like when you're talking to a 2-year-old, you're talking about something that is more intelligent than we are, way higher frequency than we are. But because of that cultural difference, it is like talking to a toddler. So you have to be specific. You leave no room for interpretation. I'm coming out here in peace. I just want to enjoy nature. If you want to, interact with me in peace, I would love to do that. I have a gun, but this is because I'm fearful of whatever it is. And you do much better. That you can get away with having to take it out there if you don't. People that don't say it, leave it in their car, whatever, and they go into the woods, you are already considered mistrustworthy because they know it's there. There's no way they don't know it's there. I have one that I interact with. I've spoke to him verbally as well as through mind speak. And that boy, it doesn't matter if I'm having a good day or a bad day, he knows. And if my frequency is down because I'm having a bad day, trust me, he is on me like you would not believe. What's wrong? I have some that came from Michigan to where I'm at now. Because I was here, he's the same way. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I see his face in the window because he knows something's up. Or if there's a bad entity, a bad cryptid, a bad human or whatever trying to find me, they will come warn me ahead of time. So they are all over the place. They know it. You can't get anything by them. It's not possible. And that's all done because of Mindspeak and the collective consciousness.
That is absolutely fascinating. Let's go over to Matt there in Quincy, Washington.
Yeah. So I just I've heard about Mindspeak for so long from so many different shows, and being able to talk to somebody who knows the experience on such a high level that you do. Maybe some clarification when you're talking about somebody going out in the woods and they need to say that, I'm talking about the gun, for example, telling the entities that you have the gun, being honest with them. Is that a verbalization? Is
No,
that
it's all talking in your mind.
talking to them?
Just
Okay.
talking in your mind. Yep. Also, by the way, there is, Matt, I don't know if you've been out in the woods lately or if you live by the woods or whatever, but there is a chocolate covered, colored, it's not covered, sorry. Chocolate covered Sasquatch. She seems to be about 8 foot tall, a thinner built. He said he has tried to mind speak with you, but you didn't believe that's what it was. So
I
they
didn't
are
pick up
trying
on
to
it.
contact you and you're not picking it up, which is very common because unless people know that they can get it all these different ways, it's so subtle. That's the other thing. There's so much subtlety. Unless it's something urgent or you have one that is really hardcore, wants you to know it, it's so subtle you can miss it and never even know it. Like just a fleeting thought that you think is so light that you don't put any faith in it, it's mind speak. Daniel, they do to you too. And they said that somebody tried to warn you about the bear, which is probably why you thought it might have been a Sasquatch, because they were already trying to warn you and you might have picked up them instead of the bear first. They did try to warn you.
No. Apparently, I didn't heed the warning. Yeah, I was feeling a little
No.
uneasy going in there.
Yeah, no, there was one that watched you. They also said, okay, this is going to sound crazy. About 4 to 6 weeks ago, were you out in the woods at all?
Yes.
Okay, because they keep harping on this 4 weeks thing. You had a Sasquatch following you. He said there was and he's showing me a picture of a grizzly. It's almost like a brownish, reddish color. And they said it was not far from you. They made sure it never got to you. So you had some backup on that one.
Well, please relay my thanks. I
Yes.
certainly don't need another bear encounter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The bears are a little bit up in arms right now.
down here in Washington,
The
we
bear
were
expert.
a couple weeks ago. Last weekend we did go up to a mountain, but a couple of weeks before that, we did go up to a different mountain, in a different location. And there were some
That was
times
when
when
he tried to talk to you.
I felt that there was something around. There was something out there.
Yeah.
But I just didn't.
Was the time they tried to mind speak. It wasn't the earliest time. It was that one.
Yeah, it didn't connect. But I kind of like there's a presence.
Yeah. He said,
But
well, we came in peace. He said, we were curious about you. And he said, we were a little bit nervous, but he said, we did come in peace. He said he did try to mind speak with you.
yeah, I felt that there, just in general, that there was something there.
Yeah.
And I was looking around, but the mind speak didn't connect.
No. And it's once, even after you've done it for a while, you always tend to question it. I mean, I've been doing it since before I could talk. And there are times I'm like, okay, I need a repeat. Like, are you really trying to tell me something? Because some of them will do it so subtly that it's almost non-existent, and then I have a group of us that because they send me to different areas to do different things, whether it's blessing on graves or whether it's help do energy clearing on the land or whatever, they'll get hold of me to do these things. And so if it's something important like that, I have a network of people that I contact and I'll be like, okay, you ask them, see if you get the same thing I did. Just because I want to make sure if I'm going to work for them and do work for them, I want it to be specific. I want to make sure it's accurate, and I get it done, which, I can always tell them no, but I generally, unless I feel it's something that's going to be bad for them and us, I usually just do it.
Wow. Gosh, that's a lot to take in.
It is.
Especially knowing there was another bear in close proximity. But yeah, I did feel very uneasy going in there. So please relay my thanks to
Definitely.
the Sasquatch. So paranormal-empowerment.com is where people can reach you. And
Yes.
you offer a wide range of services. Can you talk about the
Yeah,
website for a couple minutes?
Yeah, the website really doesn't. I have somebody that does my website and she keeps asking me, we need to update it. We need to update it. And so that's my slacking off because I love what I do. I have confidence in what I do, but to put on there everything I do, it makes it sound like I'm bragging and I'm just not that person. like I know what I know and I'm confident in it, but putting it out there, I have a harder thing with it. But I do everything from psychic readings to entity clearings. Like if you have a problem in your home that, an entity needs to be removed, I do them remotely. I've done over 500 of them. I've not found anybody that did not love them. Sometimes I just go in there and it's all done remotely. And I just change the energy and the frequency in the house to make it feel better. I have people that contact me on a regular basis just because it feels so much better in there afterwards. I teach people how to work with cryptids, how to tap in, because I can do a remote scan on them and tell them what kind of abilities they have. And then I help them with their abilities. I teach them how to tap into the energy and frequency because that's where everything starts at. And then work into the collective consciousness. It really reshapes their entire life because most people that contact me because they feel this pull, like there's something they're supposed to do, but they're not. Or they feel like they're different, like they're the round peg in the square hole. There's a reason they feel like that. They feel like that because they haven't connected with who they really are, because they do have abilities. They are supposed to be in a higher frequency. And because we live in a third dimension, they aren't. So there's an imbalance with them. And once they learn how to tap into the energies and frequencies, they feel completely balanced, more like themselves than they ever have before. And then from there, we go into the abilities and the mind speak and various other things. And it turns into not really a counseling session, but it really does make life changes for them. And they feel much more secure with who they are as a person and in their own life. Many people don't understand. We have all gone through times where you walk into a situation and somebody you don't even know treats you absolutely horribly, and there's no explanation for it, none. It's because they're a lower frequency or a higher frequency. Low frequency wants to destroy anything high frequency because they cannot survive. When a high frequency person comes into contact with a low frequency person, that low frequency person is very uncomfortable. They are not happy. It hurts them. It causes them distress, and their body will automatically lash out there's a disconnect between your energy and how long your body reading the energies and then it going to your brain. So that person will automatically react negatively to you before it even gets processed into their brain. They hate you on sight. They don't even understand why. It's because of the difference in the energy between you and them and in that frequency. So I work with a lot of people on that, just trying to get them recentered. People that start out as my clients end up being my friends. Like I met the best people in my life doing this. Really, they're just tremendous.
Paranormal-empowerment.com is the website. We encourage our viewers to check out the services that Robin offers and contact her there. Also, you spearhead with your.
I was just going to say the other thing too that I work with is anything UFO and ET related as well.
That's right.
Been an ET abductee since. Yeah, I've been an ET abductee since I was extremely, extremely young. I have had multiple abductions. I've had fetal implants, you name it. I've had it done, on that weird one. I have, and MUFON has a video of the UFOs at my house that they used at their symposium that my son-in-law took from my front porch. And so, we offer those services as well.
And we definitely want to get you back on to talk about that part of your life, because that is a very interesting element to your story. So we definitely want to get you back on to talk about that. You also, with your partner Harriet, spearhead the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference. You're probably well into planning that for next year. It was a great success this year.
We are, and we have the best team. There's Harriet, there's myself, there's Tamara and Forrest, and we love it. We love what we do. People seem very happy when they're there. We always get a really good turnout. We've got great speakers. Generally, our speakers are already planned out within a few weeks of the conference ending. You kicked butt, by the way, my friend. He did such a good job. Matt, he was amazing. Everybody loved him. Everybody loved him.
I appreciated the opportunity.
He did a great job.
Yeah,
thank
I
you
was
very
so
much.
glad you made it. And, you and William, they got stuck at the airport. And so they decided to drive it from Dallas to Nebraska. They were the best troopers. You know what? All my speakers, we had such problems with weather and the airlines. And I have to be honest and say, I have never, since I started helping put this together, been as proud of my speakers as I was this year, because every single one of them went so far above and beyond to get there through multiple discomforts of their own. They didn't care. They were there to support everybody. And not only did they do an incredible job speaking, but what they went through to get there, I will be forever grateful, because you guys, all of them, you guys are just incredible. Like, I even was there a day late because I couldn't get out. I got stuck in Dallas. Nobody wants to be stuck in Dallas, people. Let me tell you, that is the last place you ever want to be stuck. Other than there is a Whataburger in the airport. Now, that was the only blessing. But you guys, all the speakers were just incredible. I will be forever grateful because you guys just were tremendous. But yeah, we're hard at work.
I did take advantage of that Whataburger in the airport at DFW, by the way.
Isn't it good? But yeah, we're hard at work. We just had a meeting about it a couple nights ago. So yeah.
Awesome. We're looking forward to 2026 at the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference and seeing what you got planned for that. My memory from driving with William Lunsford from DFW up to Nebraska was just the lightning storms at night. And I just remember looking at William as we're driving and going, is that a funnel cloud that I'm seeing when the lightning flashes? It is prime tornado country. And actually, I think, Matt, you and I were texting a little bit during that, and you had told me that there were a lot of heavy storms in the area. But I saw that lightning flash, and
yeah,
there were
I couldn't believe
a number
it.
of tornado watches and warnings in effect in that area.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. So I missed Friday, which was heartbreaking for me because I don't normally do that. I'm there early, but I was there for Saturday. So, and the conference was great. And like I said, we've got a super team. Harriet was sick, so she didn't make it. I was stuck in Dallas, but Forrest and Tamara took over and knocked it out of the park. And you guys were incredible. I literally rewrote that entire conference and lineup at 2:00 in the morning on Thursday night, and it started at 9 on Friday, because we didn't know who was going to make it, who wasn't. You and William were like, we're going to be there for you no matter what. And I'm like, I owe you guys so much. And so I made sure you guys, I knew you were going to be there. Daryl Denton was having a hard time getting there. He made it. Dave Scott, he made it. Christian McLeod made it, but it looked like they weren't going to make it at that time either. And then Coonbo Baker was there, and he wasn't coming until Saturday, but his friend was coming in on Friday. So I talked to him, and he covered. I mean, you talk about teamwork. I was like so impressed with the integrity of these speakers last year. There's just no way to explain how grateful I was, because you guys pulled it off. Like, it would have been a complete bust because of weather. It wasn't anything anybody could do anything about. It's just the way it went down. And like I said, I'm 2:00 in the morning, and I had talked to Tamara, I think it was like 1, and I'm like, I will have this rewritten and I will get it over to you yet tonight. And in fact, I was talking to you and William on the phone while I was writing it.
Things were definitely chaotic, but it all came together, and it ended up being a great success. And so, well done job,
absolutely,
on your part. And Matt, you're gonna have to come to the next one. We'll catch this conference next time.
Yeah.
So
money.
Hey, Robin, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and talk to us about MindSpeak and to tell us about your experiences. Let me throw over to Matt to bring us home.
Yeah, thank you for being on the show today. Learned a lot of great information. And
well, thank you. I love you guys, and I appreciate you having me on so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on the show. And you get your website out there if people have questions, if they want to learn how. They know where to go now. Somebody to talk to, somebody to learn from, the right way to do it, the safe way to do it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I mean, this whole industry is one of the biggest blessings that I've ever been in my life, and I love it, and it's phenomenal. But you have to understand, there is a lot of risk to it, a lot. And like the safety police, and there are things that you can do to make it not as risky. Nothing's foolproof, but you got to make the effort, and so we try to get people on the right path and as safely as we can.
That's great.
So for myself up here in Alaska, for Matt Slater down in Quincy, Washington, for Robin Haynes from paranormal-empowerment.com down there in the Carolinas, as well as those in our CWR network. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.